Sun is shining, it's a lovely day. The kind of day to laugh and play. So come with me and I'll show you the way to get off your A.
Hey everyone, it's Tyler here from Get Off Your A, and it's a wonderful Saturday morning. And I have just discovered the greatest, newest TV show ever. Well, it's not new, but new to me. The Great British Bake Off. It combines picturesque English countrysides, English accents, and baking. It's amazing, and it inspired me today to bake a cake of myself. Bake a cake by myself. Of myself. Who wants a Tyler cake? That's weird. Anyways, we're going to make carrot cake. Who doesn't love carrots? They're orange, they're good for you. So by extension, a 4-layer carrot cake with cream cheese icing is also good for you. Yeah, we'll go with that. First thing you need to do is get yourself a nice bunch of carrots, and you want to grate them. I have 5 carrots here. You need 2 3/4 cups of carrots, so just grate until you have them, and we'll be back. Okay, so I've shredded carrots, and I lied. It's 2 2/3 cup, not 2 3/4. So 2 2/3 cup of carrots. Now we're gonna get the wet ingredients going. So we start out with our sugar, and that's 1 1/4 cups of brown sugar. Gotta love brown sugar. It's so molassesy and delicious. Perfect. Now we've got vegetable oil. We need 3/4 cups of vegetable oil. That's how you know it's healthy. It's a lot of oil. Pour that in. 3 eggs need to go in next. And 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Teaspoon is roughly a cap, so I'm just gonna eyeball it. Perfect. And now just whisk this all together till it's nice and smooth. Okay, so it's nice and smooth. And then we add in our carrots, so that 2 2/3 cup of carrots. Perfect. And we also want to add in 2/3 cup of currants. These are going to give it a nice little texture. Currants are kind of like raisins. Oop. 2/3 cup, perfect. And this is going to make up the wet ingredients, so just kind of stir that all together. And you've got your wet ingredients. So we're going to start on the dry ingredients now. Okay, so we got our wet ingredients all stirred up, and now we're going to start on our dry ingredients. So we're going to start with 1 3/4 cups of flour. Okay, so that's 1 3/4 flour. 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1 1/2 teaspoons of cinnamon. So now we're getting all our spices in here. It smells like the black market. 3/4 teaspoons of nutmeg. Perfect. 1/2 teaspoon of salt, which is not here. Salt! 1/2 teaspoon of the salt. And 1/4 teaspoon of ground cloves. So this is going to make up the dry ingredients of our cake. So we'll just mix this up, and we'll be back. Okay, so the dry ingredients are mixed. My oven is preheating to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and I have my wet ingredients. Now this is where you add the dry to the wet. You want to use a spatula, and you want to fold it in just like we did the dumplings. Now, cake. If you overmix it, bad news. If you undermix it, bad news. So, don't screw it up. Basically, you just want it until it's just mixed enough, but not too much. Isn't that helpful? So, same thing with that biscuits. Cut down the bowl and fold over. Rotate. Cut down, fold over. Cut down, fold over. And just keep doing this very gently until there are no streaks of flour left. So if you overmix it, it'll be dry and tough and gross. If you undermix it, it'll be all weird with a crazy texture and chunks of flour. No one wants that. So just make sure this is nice and folded. So this is our batter. And as you can see, it's fairly wet. but it's just nice and combined. So we're going to set this aside, and now we need to prepare what we're going to bake it in. We're actually not going to bake it in a cake pan. We're actually going to bake it on a rimmed baking sheet. So we'll be right back. So this is actually what we're going to cook it in. This is a 13 by 18 inch rimmed baking sheet. These are awesome to have all the time, but we're actually going to bake a really flat sheet cake, and then we're going to cut it into 4, and that's how we're going to stack it. So the first thing you need to do is grease it real good. I've got some Crisco here, and just take off a corner of that paper, rip it off, scoop up some shortening, and just give it a nice rub down all over the bottom and all over the sides. You do not want any stickage. So once you've greased the pan nice and good, you want to take some parchment paper and you want to push that down into your pan. Make sure it gets kind of all the way to the sides, and then just take some scissors so it'll stick up a little bit, and just trim off the excess. Perfect. And then push her down into all the nooks and crannies, and that grease will actually help the parchment paper to stick. And then, oh, guess what? You're going to grease this too. So do the same thing, but now on top of the parchment paper. And if this carrot cake sticks to the bottom, then the world is ending. Call someone who will help with the situation. It's early. It's 12 on a Saturday. You expect me to be up and functioning? How dare you? Oh, that means our oven is preheated, which is a coincidence because our pan is greased. And all you want to do is take your batter, make sure there's not any chunks of paper floating around, and just plop it on down into your rimmed baking sheet. Okay. And now just with your spatula, you want to smooth that out into all the corners and make it a nice flat sheet of cake. Okay, so our cake is nice and spread into our pan. What is sticking in it? Whoa. We're going to throw it, we're going to place it gently in our 350 degree oven, and it's going to cook for about 15 to 18 minutes. So because it's such a thin cake, it should cook up pretty quick. So we're going to throw this in the oven, and we'll be back. Okay, so the cake has cooked for 15 minutes. It's nice and spongy and cake-like. It's cooled for 5 minutes just in its pan, and now we need to kind of flip it over. So I don't have cooling racks, but I just use my oven racks, and I just put them in a cold shower and cool them right down. So you put one oven rack on top, and we're going to flip it over, and hopefully this comes off. The power of grease! Huzzah! Now, you're supposed to leave the parchment paper on, but you want it at the bottom. So, you take another cooling rack, put it on here, and then flip the whole thing over again. Oh, there we go! Nice carrot cake! Oh, this is exciting. So, this is our carrot cake right here, baked out of the oven. Beautiful flat sheet. And this has to cool 100% completely, no questions asked, for about half an hour. So if it's not cool, the icing will melt and run everywhere and it'll just be a mess. Half an hour and we will be back. Okay friends, so the cake is cooling and it's cooled now, so we're going to make the frosting. And this is something you do at the very last minute. So the first thing you need is 16 tablespoons of butter. Ew. So that's 2 sticks for all you stick butter users. Okay, and then you need 3 cups of icing sugar. And 3. Perfect. Now you need 1/3 of a cup of milk powder. So rather than actually adding milk, which would make it too runny, we're going to use powdered milk. I use powdered milk all the time. I think it's awesome. It suggests using buttermilk powder. I couldn't find that, so I'm just going to use regular old butter, or regular old milk powder. That's 1/3 of a cup. 1/3 of a cup. 2 teaspoons of vanilla. So again, approximately 2 capfuls. 1, 2. And just a dash of salt. So that is going to mix. We're going to get our paddle attachment on here. And you're just going to mix this until it's nice and smooth. So we'll be back. Okay, so once that is all nice and smooth, I have 12 ounces of cream cheese, just plain. Those bricks of cream cheese, like the Philly, 8 ounces, so this is 1.5 of those bricks to give you 12. And they're cut up into 12 little cubes. And just put your mixer on low and throw one in. And once it's kind of incorporated, you can throw the next one in. And just keep doing this until it's all nice and blended and smooth, and we'll be back. Okay, so this icing is done, and it is so good. Oh, good Lord. Cream cheese and sugar together at last. We've got our beautiful sheet cake, very nice and cool, and now we're going to cut it into 4 equal pieces. So you want to make sure to cut it in half, widthwise, and then in half lengthwise. And if your geometry is good, that will give you 4 equal pieces. So, take your cake board or whatever you're going to be using and put the first piece on. So I'm going to put it down there. Great. Now take some of your frosting and you want to spread that. Oh, this spreads so nice. Spread that just on that cake and make your first layer. Now you don't want to overdo it on the filling because you also need to cover the entire thing as well. So make sure that you just get enough to cover it. Great! And now we'll take our second piece and put that on top. And repeat all the way until you have a nice little tower of cake. And I'm just using a spatula, metal spatula, just to kind of get this icing all evenly spread. And this icing spreads beautifully. It's not too thick, it's not too runny, it's just right. And the final piece on top. Great. And now you want to get lots on top, because this is the top. Yes. So now you want to take quite a lot of it and plop it down on the top, because you're going to take some from the top and then go along the sides to get this all iced. Oh, and it just sticks to the cake so nicely. Even I'm doing a good job, and you saw what happened with the cookies. Good Lord. So just get it all nice and spread on all 4 sides. Oh, this is going to be beautiful. And then on the top, just kind of take your spatula, and if you go like back and forth, you can kind of make, or attempt anyways, some little designs. Isn't that pretty? Okay, so we've iced the cake on all 4 sides, and now for the pièce de résistance. Got a big old bag of pecans, and you want to, they're chopped, and you want to kind of pick the cake up, tilt it a little bit, and just kind of press the nuts onto the side of the cake, and then any that fall off, just kind of get them and put them on. So a little bit of nuts in your hand, pick the cake up at kind of like an angle, and just kind of like press them on. Whoop. And they'll just stick right into the sides of the cake. And this will give it a nice decorative finish around the sides. So we're going to do this on all 4 sides. And then you can just sprinkle a couple on top. This cake actually looks pretty good. I'm not going to lie. I'm kind of impressed with myself. Go me. So if I can do it, certainly anyone could do it. Let me show you this close up. It's very rustic. Oh, better not show that side. Or that one. Well, it's decent. I like it. So anyways, whoop, this is our carrot cake. It needs to go in the fridge for at least an hour. before you can cut into it. So we'll be back to try a slice of this delicious bad boy. Cheers. Oh. Okay, everybody, so the cake has chilled. Look at this bad boy. Let's cut her open, see if those layers actually are present. Oh, look at that. Layers! And now let's actually eat this. Oh, it's so soft and moist. That was a damn fine carrot cake. Yes, indeed. Delicious. And so easy, despite it looking kind of fancy. So, this is Tyler telling you to get off your A and make this fancy carrot cake today. New episodes every Wednesday, and subscribe for more fun. Talk to you later. Cheers.